जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरण मोहन जू की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत साई महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अश्वतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गौरकिशोर बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुगौर्य गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर प्रसाद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट विरक्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जय। श्री मुन देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। सारार्थ-दार्शिनी वृत्ति की जय। श्री अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Oh, I didn't share the group. 1 second. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yang Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Tara Ajuhava Putreti tanmayataya taravobhinedusthang sarvabhuta hridaya munimanatosmi Narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye Shrinvatang swakatam Krishna Punyashravana kirtana hridantasto yabhadrani vedhunuti suhritsatam Nashta prayeshvabhadreshu nityang bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki tavaivasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay kshiptashtakama ditaranga madhe Kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, Gargaraj ji, Dandavat Pranam, Raseshwari Mataji, Indira Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Rukmini Didi, and Yashoda Didi. Hare Krishna, everybody. Okay, so we're continuing our reading. Oops. Let's read the summary from here. Okay. Okay, so after Kalyavan was burnt by Mochokunda, Krishna came before Mochokunda, who then offered prayers and asked for a perpetual devotion unto him. Krishna granted his desire. Oh, 1 second. I forgot to check if the audio was... Okay, it is. Haribo, Bhavatarani Mataji, and Nri Hari Prabhu. Oh, wow. Nri Hari Prabhu is in Japan now, on his way to Hawaii. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, so then Krishna went back to Mathura and destroyed the army of Kalyavan. And then he set off for Dwarka. Just then, Jarasandha arrived on the scene with a huge army of 23 Akshohini. And so it's like it's a specific army contingent, like a battalion. So yeah, it's with 3 Akshohini. Then Balaram and Krishna fled from the site, acting as if fearful. Foolish Jarasandha chased them as they reached a mountain named Pravarshan and climbed it. Unable to find them, Jarasandha set fire on all sides of the mountain. Krishna and Balaram jumped off the mountain peak unseen by Jarasandha's armies. Jarasandha believed that Balaram and Krishna were burnt to death and returned to his kingdom. The 2 brothers went to Dwarka. The first love letter and the first queen. Princess Rukmiṇī was the young daughter of Bhishmaka, king of Vidarbha. She had heard of Krishna's beauty and other attractive qualities from sages like Narad Muni and thus desired him as her husband. Lord Krishna also wanted to marry her. Rukmini's brother Rukmi was envious of Krishna and wanted her to marry Shishupal instead. Rukmini Devi then wrote a letter expressing her love for Krishna and sent it to him through a trustworthy Brahman. The Brahman traveled to Dwarka, and Krishna welcomed and honored him. The Brahman then showed Srimati Rukmini Devi's letter to Krishna that read, "O Lord, I am fully attracted to you ever since I have heard about you. Please come and take me away. On the day before my planned marriage with Shishupal, I will visit the temple of Ambika." I remember we read Girija. Same person anyways. So I'll visit the temple of Girija, from where you will come from where you could come and kidnap me. I shall give up my life if you do not grant this favor. Then perhaps in my next life I will be able to obtain you. Krishna set out for Vidarbha at once on his chariot driven by Daruka. Lord Baladev also gathered his entire army and quickly went to Kundinapur, the capital of Vidarbha. Okay, so that's where we got up to. Oops, wrong book. Sorry. Okay. Chapter 53. Krishna kidnaps Rukmiṇī. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Vaidarbhyasa tu sandesham nishamya yadunandana pragrihya panina paning prahasan idama bravit. Shukadev Goswami said, thus hearing the confidential message of Princess Vaidarbhi, Rukmini, Lord Yadunandan took the Brahman's hand and, smiling, spoke to him as follows. Sārārtha-darśinī commentary by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. In this chapter, Krishna goes to Kundina city, is worshipped by Bhishmaka, and steals Rukmini when she leaves the city to worship Durga. Rukmini was undisturbed internally. She was disturbed, did I say undisturbed? She was disturbed internally and externally by her attachment to the Lord. Krishna, however, though attached to Rukmini and moved internally, he did not show that, and instead he smiled as he spoke. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Tataham apitachito nidram na cha labhe nishi vedaham rukmina dveshan mamodvaho nivarita. The Supreme Lord said, just as Rukmini's mind is fixed on me, my mind is fixed on her. I can't even sleep at night. I know that Rukmi, out of envy, has forbidden our marriage. Commentary. Krishna said, I know that Rukmi has prevented his sister's marriage to me. Tam anayishya unmatya rajanya pasadan mride matparam anavadyangim edhasogni shikam iva. She has dedicated herself exclusively to me, and her beauty is flawless. I will bring her here after thrashing those worthless kings in battle, just as one brings a blazing flame out of firewood. Commentary. When the fire lying dormant in wood bursts into flames, it consumes the wood. By saying Edhasogni Shikam Iva, Krishna implies, Rukmini, who is enveloped by wicked members of the royal order like Rukmi, will cause them all to be burned up. I, on the other hand, will only be the stimulus for that. Shri Shuka Uvacha Udva Harksham Chavigyaya Rukminya Madhusudhana Ratha Sangyujyatam Ashu Daruketya Sārathim. Shukadev Goswami said, Lord Madhusudan also understood the exact lunar time for Rukmini's wedding. Thus he told his driver, Daruka, ready my chariot immediately. Commentary. Krishna understood through the mouth of a Brahmin that the auspicious star for marriage would occur 2 nights in the future, so he called his charioteer. Sa chashvai shaibya sugriva megha pushpa balahakai yuktam ratam upaniya tasto pranjaliragrata. Daruka brought the Lord's chariot, yoked with the horses named Shaibya, Sugriva, Meghapushpa, and Balahaka. He then stood before Lord Krishna with joined palms. Commentary. The Padma Puran describes the colors of Krishna's horses. Shaibyastu Shukapatrabha Sugrivo Hemapingala Meghapushpas tu Meghabha Panduro hi Balahaka. Shaibya was green like a parrot's wing. Sugriva, yellow gold. Meghapushpa, the color of a cloud. And Balahaka, whitish. Wow, that's so cool. A green horse. I like how they have really unique names also. Aruhya Syandanam Shorir Dvijam Aropyatur Nagai anartar ekaratrena vidarbhan agamadhyayai. Lord Shori mounted his chariot and had a Brahman do likewise. Then the Lord's swift horses took them from the Anartha district to Vidarbha in a single night. Commentary. Krishna heard the message of Rukmiṇī in the evening, immediately left on his chariot, and arrived at Kundina early the next morning. Rajasa Kundinapati Putra Sneha Vashanuga Shishupalaya Swam Kanyam Tasyan Karmanyakarayat. King Bhishmaka, the master of Kundina, having succumbed to the sway of affection for his son, was about to give his daughter to Shishupal. The king saw all the required preparations. Commentary. Due to attachment to his son, Bhishmaka consented to marry his daughter to Shishupal, and then decorated the city accordingly. Puram samrishta sansikta margaratya chatushpatam chitradvaja patakabhis toranai samalankritam saragandha malyabaranair virajom barabhushitai jushtam stri purushai shrimad grihair agurudhupitai. The king had the main avenues, commercial roads, and intersections thoroughly cleansed and then sprinkled with water. And he also had the city decorated with triumphant archways and multicolored banners on poles. The men and women of the city arrayed in spotless raiment and anointed with fragrant sandalwood paste wore precious necklaces and jeweled ornaments, and their opulent homes were filled with the aroma of aguru. Commentary. The men and women wore spotless clothing, necklaces, scents, and garlands, and covered their bodies with sandalwood paste. The main roads were cleaned, sprinkled with water, and decorated with various of banners on flagpoles. Pitrin devan samabhyarcha viprangscha vidivan nripa bhojayitva yata nyayam vachayam asamangalam. O king, in accordance with prescribed rituals, Maharaj Bhishmaka worshipped the forefathers, demigods, and Brahmins, feeding them all properly. Then he had the traditional mantras chanted for the well-being of the bride. Susnatam sudatim kanyam kritakotukamangalam ahatang shukayugmena bhushitam bhushanottamai. The bride cleaned her teeth and bathed, after which she put on the auspicious wedding necklace. Then she was dressed in brand new upper and lower garments and adorned with most excellent jeweled ornaments. Commentary. Rukmiṇī wore 2 pieces of new cloth, fresh from the loom. Lord Brahma states in the Smriti scriptures that only spotless clothing, fresh off the loom, should be worn during auspicious ceremonies. Chakru samar rigyajur mantrar vadva rakshan dijottama purohito tarva vidvai juhava grahashantaye. The best of Brahmins chanted mantras of the Rig, Sama, and Yajur Vedas for the bride's protection, and the priests learned in the Atharva Veda offered oblations to pacify the controlling planets. Commentary. The verb chakru, they did, can be taken as the verb of the last line of the previous verse, as well as the verb of the present verse. Thus, the Brahmins had Rukmiṇī put on fresh cloth, and then they chanted mantras for her protection. Atharvavid means expert knower of the mantras of the Atharva Veda, since the Atharva Veda very often deals with the pacification of unfavorable planets. Hiranyarupyavasangshri Tilangscha Guramishritan Pradardhenuscha Viprebhyo Raja Vidhi Vidangvara. Outstanding in his knowledge of regulative principles, the king rewarded the Brahmins with gold, silver, clothing, cows, and sesame seeds mixed with raw sugar. Evam chedipati raja tamagosha sutayavai karayam asamantragyai sarvam abhyudayochitam. Raja Damagosha, lord of Chedi, had also engaged Brahmins expert in chanting mantras to perform all rituals necessary to assure his son's prosperity. Commentary. Damagosha also performed ceremonies for his son Shishupal's marriage. Madachudbhir Gajani Kai Syandanair Hemamalibhi Patyashva Sankulai Sanyai Parita Kundinam Yayo. King Damagosha traveled to Kundina accompanied by armies of elephants exuding mada. What's mada? Chariots hung with golden chains, and numerous cavalry and infantry soldiers. Commentary. Liquid mada dripped from the foreheads of the elephants in procession. Okay, mada is liquid, because mada also means intoxication. Mod means liquor. Tam vai vidarbhadi patai samabhetya bhipujya cha niveshayam asamudha kalpitanya niveshane. Bhishmaka, the lord of Vidarbha, came out of the city and met King Damagosha, offering him tokens of respect. Bhishmaka then settled Damagosha in a residence especially constructed for the occasion. Tatra shalva jarasando dantavakra vidurata ajagmush dapakshiya pondrakadya sahasrasha. Shishupal's supporters, Shalva, Jarasandha, Dantavakra, and Vidura, different Vidura, right? Vidurata. They all came along with Pondraka and thousands of other kings. Krishna Rama Dvisho Yatta Kanyam Chaityaya Sadhitum Yadyagatya Harit Krishna Ramadyar Yadubhir Vrita Yotsyama Sanghatastena Iti Nishchittamanasa Ajagmur Bhubuja Sarve Samagra Balavahana. To secure the bride for Shishupal, the kings who envied Krishna and Balaram came to the following decision among themselves. If Krishna comes here with Balaram and the other Yadus to steal the bride, we shall band together and fight him. Thus, those envious kings went to the wedding with their entire armies and a full complement of military conveniences. Commentary. The kings came to ensure that Rukmiṇī was given to Shishupal. Shrutvaitar Bhagavan Ramo Vipakshiya Nripodyamam Krishnam Chaikam Gatam Hartum Kanyam Kalaha Shankita Palena Mahata Sardham Bhratri Sneha Paripluta Tvarita Kundinam Pragar Gajashvaratapatibhi. When Lord Balaram heard about these preparations of the inimical kings and how Lord Krishna had set off alone to steal the bride, he feared that a fight would ensue. Immersed in affection for his brother, he hurried to Kundina with a mighty army consisting of soldiers riding on elephants, horses, and chariots. Commentary. Hearing from a succession of persons that Balaram, even though endowed with omniscience and omnipotency, feared an upcoming battle, and therefore he went to Kundina with a large contingent of troops. Balaram's strong affection for his brother covered his natural omniscience, for it is human nature to worry about the dangers imminent for a friend. Bhishmakanya vararoha kangshantyagamanam hare pratyapatim apashyanti dvijasya chintayat tada. The lovely daughter of Bhishmaka anxiously awaited the arrival of Krishna, but when she did not see the Brahman return, she thought as follows: Ahotri yamanantarita udvaho milparadhasa nagachatyaravindakṣo naham vidmyatra karanam sopi na vartate dyapi matsandesha haro dvija. Princess Rukmiṇī thought, "Alas, my wedding is to take place when the night ends. How unlucky I am! Lotus-eyed Krishna does not come. I don't know why. And even the Brahman messenger has not yet returned." Commentary. Even before sunrise, Rukmiṇī felt anxious because of fear and eagerness. Rukmiṇī thought, "This night of 3 yamas, 9 hours, has finished. Tomorrow night is the fixed time for the wedding of this most unfortunate woman. Apimayan anavadhyatma drishtva kinchij jugupsiptam matpani grahane nunam nayati hi kritodyama." Perhaps the faultless Lord, even while preparing to come here, saw something contemptible in me and therefore has not come to take my hand. Commentary. Rukmiṇī expressed doubt with the word api, perhaps. Rukmiṇī thought, at first Krishna was ready to come, and because the Brahman would accompany him, he did not send the Brahman. However, at the time of leaving, Krishna saw some fault in my body or character, so he gave up his plan to come here. It would be improper for him, who is faultless in body and mind, to marry me, who am full of faults. Being unsuccessful, the Brahman has not come to see me out of fear that I would give up my body upon hearing the bad news. Durbhagaya name dhata nanukulo maheshvara devi va vimukhi gori rudrani girija sati. I am extremely unfortunate, for the Creator is not favorably disposed toward me, nor is the great Lord Shiva, or perhaps Shiva's wife, Devi, who is known as Gauri, Rudrani, Girija, and Sati. Maybe she has turned against me. Commentary. This verse reveals the intense anxiety of Rukmiṇī, who thought, maybe Krishna did want to come, but he was stopped on the path by the Creator Brahma, who is not favorably inclined toward me. But why should he be unfavorable? Perhaps the cause is Lord Shiva, who has become angry because of my failure to properly worship him on some occasion. But he is Maheshvar, the great controller, so why should he be angry with such an insignificant and foolish girl as me? Perhaps it is Shiva's wife, Gauri Devi, who is somehow displeased with me, even though I worship her every day. Alas, alas, how have I offended her so that she has turned against me? But after all, she is Rudrani, the wife of Rudra, and her very name means one who makes everyone cry. So perhaps she and Shiva want me to cry. But seeing that I'm so miserable that I'm about to give up my life, why don't they soften their hearts? There must be some fault in Gauri's heritage. The reason must be that Durga Devi is also called Girija, the adopted daughter of a mountain. So how could her heart melt, being so stone-like? In her incarnation as Sati, she gave up her body. So perhaps she now wants to give me up. Also, she wants to give up my body too. Before, as Sati, she gave up her body. So perhaps she wants to give up my body too. Evam chintayati bala govinda hritamānasa Nyālayata kalagya netre chashru kalakule. As she thought in this way, the young maiden, whose mind had been stolen by Krishna, closed her tear-filled eyes, remembering that there was still time. Commentary. Rukmini thought, "O fickle mind, do not prepare to give up this body. Do not prepare to give up this body now, because the time of Krishna's coming has not yet passed. Therefore, before giving up this body, let me now see Krishna's face in meditation. Please do not prevent this, dear mind." Then she closed her eyes. Evam vadva pratikshantya Govinda gamanam nripa Avama urur bhujo netram aspuram priyabhashina. O king, as the bride thus awaited the arrival of Govinda, she felt a twitch in her left thigh, and her left arm, and her left eye, a sign that something desirable would happen. Commentary. Rukmini's left thigh and other bodily limbs trembled, which are signs of auspiciousness. For ladies, for men it's on the right side. Ata Krishna vinirdhishta sa eva dvijasattama antapura charim devim rajaputrim dadarshaha. Just then, the purest of learned Brahmins, following Lord Krishna's order, came to see the divine Princess Rukmini within the inner chambers of the palace. Commentary. The Brahmin was especially ordered by Krishna. Go quickly and tell Rukmini that I have reached the city gardens. The word devim means that in the rapture of seeing Krishna in her meditation, Rukmini was glowing. Due to her extreme absorption in meditation on Krishna, Rukmini was walking inside her chambers with the purpose of going to Krishna. Satam prahrishta vadanam avyagratma gatim sati alaksha lakshana bhegya sama prichach chuchi smita. Noting the Brahman's joyful face and serene movements, saintly Rukmini, who could expertly interpret such symptoms, inquired from him with a pure smile. Commentary. I, Sunanda Brahman, have now come from the side of your beloved. Please cast your glance upon me, said the Brahman in a loud voice. Thus roused from her meditation, Rukmini looked at the Brahman as described in this verse. Noticing his serenity and the joy in his face, Rukmini's anxiety disappeared. Rukmini was expert in reading omens, so she understood that the Brahman was successful in his mission because of his blissful countenance and the twitching of her left eye. Rukmini then smiled slightly, indicating her genuine joy. Previously, she had been falsely smiling to hide her inner suffering. Tasya avedayat praptam shashangsaya dunandanam uktam cha satyavachanam atmopanayanam prati. The Brahman announced to her the arrival of Lord Yadunandan and relayed the Lord's promise to marry her. Commentary. He announced to her that Yadunandan had arrived. He described how Krishna had promised to marry her, relating his words such as Tam Anayishya. I will bring Rukmini here to Dwarka. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10.53.3. Tam agatam samagyaya vaidarbhi hrishtamanasa napashyanti brahmanaya priyamanyan nanamasa. Princess Vaidarbhi was overjoyed to learn of Krishna's arrival. Not finding anything at hand suitable to offer the Brahman, she simply bowed down to him. Commentary. What can I give to this Brahman to satisfy him as remuneration? Thinking like this, Rukmiṇī simply bowed down, since she did not see any dear thing to express her indebtedness, even the offering of her own self. But at that very moment, the house of the Brahman became filled with all sorts of treasures. This was the response of Mahalakshmi to show her gratitude. 1 second, just seeing if the message has anything to do with our reading. No. Yeah, he heard it through the grapevine. Haribo, Rupmanjari Didi, and Nitai, and Prajumna Prabhu, Mantaramurti Mataji, and Sudevi Didi. Haribo. Prapto Shrutva Saduhitur, Udvaha Prekshanotsuko, Abhyayat Turya Goshena, Ramakrishna Samarhanai. The king, upon hearing that Krishna and Balaram had come and were eager to witness his daughter's wedding, went forth with abundant offerings to greet them as music resounded. Madhuparkam upaniya vasangsi virajangsisa upayanyanyabhishtani vidivad samapujayat. Presenting them with madhuparka, new clothing, and other desirable gifts, he worshipped them according to standard rituals. Tayor niveshanam Śrīmad upakalpya mahamati sasanyayo sanugayor atityam vidadheyata. Generous King Bhishmaka arranged opulent accommodations for the two lords, and also for their army and entourage. In this way, he afforded them proper hospitality. Commentary. Bhishmaka is described as generous because he was contented in his heart, knowing that Krishna had come to marry his qualified daughter. Therefore, he elaborately worshipped Krishna. Evam ragyam sametanam yata viryam yata vayo yata balam yata vittang sarvai kamai samarhayat. Thus it was that Bhishmaka gave all desirable things to kings who had assembled for the occasion, honoring them as befitted their political power, age, physical prowess, and wealth. Krishnam agatama karnya vidarbha puravasina agatya netranjalibhi papustan mukapankajam. When the residents of Vidarbhapur heard that Lord Krishna had come, they all went to see him. With the cupped palms of their eyes, they drank the honey of his lotus face. Commentary. The phrase Papustan Mukha Pankajam means the people drank the incomparable sweetness of Krishna's lotus face. This indicates the unlimited quantity of honey contained in this lotus, and how wonderful it was that many parties could drink from just one lotus at the same time. Aiva bharya bhavitum rukminyarhatina para asavapyanavadhyatma vaishmya samuchita pati. The people of the city said, Rukmiṇī and no one else deserves to become his wife, and he also, possessing such flawless beauty, is the only suitable husband for Princess Vaishmi. Commentary. Combines statements made by different citizens of Vidarbha. 7 statements have been combined in one. 1. For him alone and no other. 2. As a wife, not as an enjoyable object. 3. Rukmiṇī alone and no one else. 4. This certainly must be and should not be avoided. 5. He alone and no one else. 6. For Rukmiṇī and no one else. 7. 7. He is perfectly suited, not at all unsuitable. These 7 statements have the negative qualifier, no one else, na apara, nor nothing else, applied to each statement. Some said, Rukmiṇī and no one else deserves to be Krishna's wife. Others said, she should be Krishna's wife and nothing else, such as an object of enjoyment. Others said, Rukmiṇī alone and no one else should be Krishna's wife. In this way, also 4 other statements could be made. Rukmiṇī should certainly be Krishna's wife. There is no question about it. Krishna and only Krishna should be Rukmiṇī's husband. Krishna should be the husband of Rukmiṇī only. Krishna must be the husband of Rukmiṇī. To say it is a fault of contradiction because of the impossibility of combining 7 statements in one is not correct, because the authorities say, Sambhavatte vakyatve vakyabhedo hi gauravam. A divergence of statements can be spoken within one statement when it expresses the importance of the subject. Kinchit sucharitam yannas tena tushtas trilokakrit anugritnatu vaidarbhya panimachuta. May Achyuta, the creator of the 3 worlds, be satisfied with whatever pious work we may have done and show his mercy by taking the hand of Darbhi. Commentary. The citizen said, let Krishna be satisfied with whatever pious acts we have done. We offer all our pious credits to Rukmiṇī so she can marry Krishna. Evang prema kala baddha vadanti sma purokhasa kanya chanta purat pragar bhattair guptam vikalayan. Bound by their swelling love, the city's residents spoke in this way. Then the bride, protected by guards, left the inner palace temple of Ambika. Commentary. The citizens spoke out due to their deep love for Rukmiṇī. The Medini dictionary defines the word kala as follows. Kala mule pravridosyach chiladav angsha matrake. The word kala means a root, increase, a stone, or a mere part. Parbhyam viniryayo drashtum pavanya padapallavam Sachanudhyayati samyan mukunda charanam bhujam yattavan matribhi sardham sakhibi parivartita gupta raja bhatai shurai sannadhair udyata yudhai mridanga shankapanavas turya bhairyaschcha jagnire. Rukmiṇī silently went out on foot to see the lotus feet of the deity Bhavani. Accompanied by her mothers and girlfriends, and protected by the king's valiant soldiers who held their upraised weapons at the ready, she simply absorbed her mind in the lotus feet of Krishna. And all the while, with mridangas, kanchals, panavas, horns, and other instruments resounded. And all the while, all these instruments resounded. Nanopahara bali bhir varamukya sahasrasha sragandha vastra bharanair dvija patnya svalankrita gayantyascha stuvantascha gayaka vadyavadaka parivarya vadum jagmo sutama gadavandhina. Behind the bride followed thousands of prominent courtesans, bearing various offerings and presents, along with well-adorned Brahmins' wives singing and reciting prayers, and bearing gifts of garlands, scents, clothing, and jewelry. There were also professional singers, musicians, bards, chroniclers, and heralds. Commentary. Rukmiṇī was carried in a palanquin from the city palace to the temple complex of Durga. Then she walked the 15-foot distance into the temple while surrounded by guards. Mridangas and conchas resounded auspiciously. Asadya Devi Sadhanam Dottapada Karambuja Upasprishya Suchi Shanta Praviveksham. Upon reaching the goddess's temple, Rukmini first washed her lotus feet and hands, and then sipped water for purification. Thus sanctified and peaceful, she came into the presence of Mother Ambika. Commentary. Rukmini performed Achman and entered the inner sanctum. The masculine is sometimes used for female deities in their The masculine is sometimes used for female deities in their sanctum, just as the masculine is used for female animals while they are still in the womb. Okay, now I know. Very interesting fact. Female animals are referred to in the masculine when they're in the womb. Tambai pravayaso balam vidigya viprayoshita bhavanim vandayam chakrur bhavapatnim bhavanvitam. The older wives of Brahmins, experts in the knowledge of rituals, led young Rukmini in offering respects to Bhavani, who appeared with her consort, Lord Bhava. Commentary. The elderly wives of the Brahmins, who were expert in Shastra and knew of Rukmini's desire to marry Krishna, had her worship Durga along with Shiva. They prompted Rukmini to pray thus: O Durga, just as you, the wife of Shiva, are always united with Shiva, please make me Krishna's wife and keep me always united with him. Having seen Krishna, they prayed in the same way as the citizens did previously. May the results of our pious acts be given to Rukmini. Namasye Tvambike Bhikshnan Swasantana Yutam Shivam Bhoyat Patir Me Bhagavan Krishnastar Anumodatam. Princess Rukmini prayed, O Mother Ambika, wife of Lord Shiva, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you, together with your children. May Lord Krishna become my husband. Please grant this. Commentary. The elderly wives of the Brahmins led her in chanting that mentioned in this verse. May Ganesha remove all the obstacles now facing me. May you consent that Krishna will become my husband. Durga answered, So be it. So be it. May Krishna be your husband. Arvir Gandakshatar Dupar Vasa Shrang Malya Bhushanai Nano Pahara Balibhi Pradipa Balibhi Pritak Viprastriya Patimatis Tatatai Samapujayat Lavana Pupatambula Kantasutra Palekshubhi. Rukmini worshipped the goddess with water, scents, whole grains, incense, clothing, garlands, necklaces, jewelry, and other prescribed offerings and gifts, and also with arrays of lamps. The married Brahmin women each performed worship simultaneously with the same items, also offering savories and cakes, prepared betel nut, sacred threads, fruit, and sugarcane juice. Commentary. Sarak are flower garlands, and malya are jeweled necklaces. Lavana apupa, savory cakes, refers to what is known as kachorika. Tasya striyastapradadhu shesham yuyujura ashisha tabhyo devyai namaschakre shesham cha jagrihe vadhu. The ladies gave the bride the remnants of offerings and then blessed her. She in turn bowed down to them, and the deity accepted the remnants as prasadam. She bowed. I don't know. I read that wrong. She bowed down to them and the deity, and she accepted the remnants as prasadam. Sorry about that. Commentary. Rukmiṇī offered respects to Ambika and took her remnants as prasad. Muni vratam ata tyaktva nishchakramambika grihat pragrihya panina bhrityam ratnamudro pashobhina. The princess then gave up her vow of silence and left the Ambika temple, holding on to a maidservant with her hand, which was adorned with a jeweled ring. Commentary. Muni vratam means vow of silence. I'm just looking at the comments really quick. Yeah, ancient Chakorika. Sorry, Kachori. Kachorika. I wonder if they were like what kachoris are like now. Tam deva Tam deva mayam ivadhira mohinim sumadhyamam kundalamanditananam shyamam nitambar pitaratnamekhalam vyanjat stanim kuntala shankite kshanam. Shuchi smitam bimba phaladara dyuti shonayamana dvijakunda kundmalam pada chalantim kalahangsagaminim sinjat kalanu puradhama shobhina vilokya virya mumuhu samagata yashasvinastat kritahrichayardita yam vikshate nripatayastaru Yam vikshate nripatayastarudhara hasa vridava lokahrita chetasa. Oh God. Yam vikshate nripatayastarudhara hasa vridava lokahrita chetasa ujitastra. Sorry about that. Petukshito Petukshito gajaratashvagata vimura yatra chalena harayer payatim swashobham saivam shanaishchalayati chalaparmakosho praptim tada bhagavata prasamikshamana utsarya vamat karajar alakan apangai Praptan hriyaikshatar nripam dadrishe chutam cha tam rajakanyam ratam ururakshatim chahara krishna dishatam samikshatam. It changed 3 times the meter. So, anyways. Rukmiṇī appeared as enchanting as the Lord's illusory potency, who enchants even the sober and grave. Thus the kings gazed upon her virgin beauty, her shapely waist, and her lovely face adorned with earrings. Her hips were graced with a jewel-studded belt. Her breasts were just budding, and her eyes seemed apprehensive of her encroaching locks of hair. She smiled sweetly, her jasmine bud teeth reflecting the glow of her bimba-red lips. She walked with the motions of a royal swan. The effulgence of her tinkling ankle bells beautified her feet. Seeing her, the assembled heroes were totally bewildered. Lust tore at their hearts. Indeed, when the king saw her broad smile and shy glance, they became stupefied, dropped their weapons, and fell unconscious to the ground from their elephants, chariots, and horses. Whoa! That is so cool. That would be so funny to see. All these men falling off their elephants, chariots, and horses. On the pretext of the procession, Rukmiṇī displayed her beauty for Krishna alone. Slowly she advanced the 2 moving lotus whorls of her feet, awaiting the arrival of the Supreme Lord. With the fingernails of her left hand, she pushed some strands of hair away from her face and shyly looked from the corners of her eyes at the king standing before her. At that moment, she saw Krishna. Haribo! Then, while his armies looked on, the Lord seized the princess, who is. Wait, let me reread that. Then, while his enemies looked on, the Lord seized the princess, who was eager to mount his chariot. Jai Shri Rukmiṇī Dwarkadish ki Jai. Rukmini Krishna ki Jai. Commentary. The demons who were inimical to the Lord saw Rukmini, his internal potency, as Maya. This is described in 2.5 verses. 51. Seeing Rukmini as Krishna's Maya potency, the heroes became bewildered. This is the same thing that happens to the wrestlers in Mathura. That was in chapter 43, verse 17, who saw Krishna as a thunderbolt rather than a tender young boy. They could not perceive Krishna's true identity. Similarly, the heroes present in Kundina were thinking that this beautiful girl Rukmini was no mortal, but rather the supreme Maya potency who bewilders even the demigods. The following verse describes a Shama woman. Was Rukmini Shama? Shitakale bhaved ushna kale tushitala stano sukantino yasya sa shama parikirtita. A woman is called Shama when her breasts are very firm and when someone in her presence feels warm in the winter and cool in the summer. That is so. Just being in her presence is like being next to a very effective AC unit. The warriors became overcome with lust on seeing Rukmini's prominent breasts and her unsteady eyes moving about as if afraid of her locks of hair. 53. Rukmini's teeth were finely shaped like jasmine buds and tinted red from the reflection of her bimba fruit lips. Her moving feet were beautified by the glow of her skillfully crafted tinkling ankle bells. The warriors were tormented by the lust generated by seeing Rukmini as Maya. This resembles Pururava, who became afflicted by lust when he saw Urvashi in the fiery image produced by the Gandharvas. Pururava became lusty, not by the fiery image, but the thought that it was Urvashi. Similarly, the hero's lusty agitation was due to the perception of Maya, and not due to the perceiving Rukmini. Non-devotees can never perceive the beautiful form of Rukmini because she is a manifestation of Krishna's internal energy. Thus, the heroic kings assembled in Vidarbha became agitated with lust upon seeing the Lord's illusory potency and expansion of Rukmini. This explanation refutes any other contrary interpretation. 54. The warriors became so bewildered that they fainted on seeing Rukmini, who had offered her beauty to Krishna and no one else. 55. Rukmini was walking slowly because she was searching for Krishna. Upon seeing the other men present, however, she felt shy. But she would not show such bashfulness on seeing Krishna. Then she saw Achyuta, who, it is implied, he never left her heart. Ratam samaropya suparna lakshanam rajanya chakram paribhuya madhava tato yayo rama purogama shanai shrigala madhyad iva bhagahridhari. Lifting the princess on his chariot, whose flag bore the emblem of Garuda, Lord Madhav drove back the circle of kings. With Balaram in the lead, he slowly exited like a lion removing his prey from the midst of jackals. Haribo! Tamanina svabhibhavam yashakshayam pare jarasanda mukha nasehire aho dig asman yasha atmanam gopar hritam ke sharinam mrigar iva. The kings inimical to the Lord, headed by Jarasandha, could not tolerate this humiliating defeat. They exclaimed, "Oh, damn us! Though we are mighty archers, mere cowards have come and stolen our honor, just as puny animals might steal the honor of lions." Commentary. Finding the defeat intolerable, the angry kings abused the Yadavs. "We are unfortunate because our fame has been stolen by coward men." Thus ends the commentary on the 53rd chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. Wow, that was a lot of fun. Okay, so tomorrow we will read chapter 54, Marriage of Krishna and Rukmiṇī. Oh my God, I didn't even realize the time. It's 8:37 already. Hi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikagiri Dhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Viranta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Viranta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Vama Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Nitya Pravishta Vaishnav Sa Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nugogoriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopala Bhatta Dashagunath Shar Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Avishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Rukmiṇī Krishna Ki Jai. Rukmiṇī Dwarkadish Ki Jai. Shri Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Shri Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Sārārtha-darśinī Commentary Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Hari Bol Rukmiṇī Didi. All right, so I'll see you all tomorrow for the marriage of Rukmiṇī and Krishna. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Jai Shri Radhe.